the Lakers, and they really had their new team together, I guess, for the first time last night, and they put it on the Pelicans. Now, the Pelicans are struggling. The Pelicans are 7-17.
What win is that? People are celebrating that?
Eve.
I don't know.
Well, they blew them out. You know, they did what you're supposed to do with an inferior team. They beat them 120-102. They led from start to finish, and they look good. They did look good, Rob. I watched that game, and so I get why people are excited. But I want to ask you, what do you expect? I mean, right now they're the 13th seed, right? You have to be in the top 10 in your conference to make the play-in. What do you expect from the Lakers going forward after the All-Star break?
I can't look at one game against the Pelicans. Do they look better on paper? Yes. Have they dug enough of a hole? Can they get out of it? What was it, 14-9? They've been playing under 500 all year, so now they're going to win 14 of the last 23 games.
They're 2 games out of the play-in right now.
Right.
And they're 3.5 games out of, like, making the top 6, which they wouldn't have to compete in the play-in.
Right. I'm just not convinced of anything yet. I need to see. And the elephant in the room, Chris, they have 2 elephants in the room. Does LeBron stay healthy, and does this flare up and derail them, or does Anthony Davis get hurt again? So those are the reasons why I can't see much happening. I know you could say, oh, they'll finish the last 23 games, no problem. Really? I'm not sure.
No, look, the injuries is real. And we, obviously, with every team, you have to stay healthy, right? We just talked about how there are a lot of reasons it didn't work in Brooklyn. Injuries is as big as any. For all the Kyrie shenanigans.
You could say everything else right, Chris. Injuries derailed that.
Durant didn't play the whole first year, Rob. Kyrie played 20 games that year. Harden, Kyrie, and Durant played 16 games together. Think about that. That's ridiculous. That's 1 month, essentially, of basketball together. And so injuries is huge, and I agree that it's hard to think that AD and LeBron are going to play all 23 games they have remaining.
It just doesn't, right? It doesn't factor in, right? You can't believe it.
Right. I'll be happy if I can get 20 out of each of them, particularly AD. If I get 20, like, AD at the top of his game performances, I'm not tickled pink if I'm a Lakers fan. And so I will say this. I think Rob Pelinka did a good job at the deadline. Adding D'Angelo Russell and Malik Beasley provides shooting from three-point range. They were sorely lacking in that area. Jared Vanderbilt is a long, athletic defender, 6'9", really good defender. So they improve in that. Mo Bamba's long, 7 feet, athletic, young, frisky, energetic. I like him. They improved. And, beyond that, whatever their starting 5 will be, last night it was Vanderbilt, the guys I mentioned, AD, LeBron, Vanderbilt, Beasley, and D'Angelo Russell. I don't know if that'll be it going forward, but you add to that Dennis Schroeder, who's I like Schroeder a lot. I think he could be a starter on if you got great stars around him, or he'll be a really good backup. Rob, he's good enough where what they offer him, $84-85 million a few years ago.
And somehow he turned it down.
He's foolishly, right? Somehow now he's playing for relative pennies by NBA standards. Yeah, that one hurts. But Austin Reeves, Lonnie Walker, if he's still going to be in the rotation, like their depth isn't bad. And so I think, Rob, here's what I'll say. I think they can get in the play-in. I don't think they can get in the top 6, even though it looks only 3.5 games. Oh, wow. No, I don't think they're getting in the top 6.
Right, it ain't that easy. People do say that, Chris. They go, 3.5, they can make that up. No.
That's a lot. You got to jump. They're like 6 teams back of the 6. They're in 13th. They're not jumping 7 teams. Right. I don't even know, Rob, if they'll get in the 7th or 8th seed, because those are advantageous when you're playing the 9th and 10th seed in the play-in. But here are the teams I think that they can surpass. Utah ain't even trying to win. I mean, they're trying to lose. Portland's just not very good. And either Oklahoma City, Rob, or New Orleans. I think one of those two, probably Oklahoma City, is good, that the Lakers can pass them and get in the play-in. And then, look, I don't think they can make, I don't think they're a contender, but I think they could, the thing is, if they're in the play-in, they're going to have a tough matchup in that first round. I mean, if they get a Sacramento, certainly I would like their chances. But Denver, Anthony Davis, Rob, can outplay Jokic, I think. But the key is if he's healthy. But, yeah, I think they made some good moves, Rob, over the deadline. If you're assuming they're going to be healthy, I think they can get in the play-in. And I know their feeling is, look, we get in the play-in. We've got LeBron. We've got AD. We got some pieces now that fit around the way they play. We can make some noise. And I think that's all a Lakers fan can hope for at this point in time.
Yeah, all right, so given this team, Chris, if they don't make it, what would that say? If they say they're relatively healthy, not one of the big guys don't go down, would it be that they just ran out of time because they weren't healthy or they didn't have the right team for the most of the season? Or would that be an indictment of LeBron and AD if they don't even make it to the play-in?
Well, look, you and I think, I'll be honest, right? I don't know I feel like we're some of the only ones who, Jeff Van Gundy has said the same, I believe. We're looking at this sober-mindedly with LeBron. The numbers are great. The numbers are what they've always been and maybe better in a lot of cases.
Which is incredible for year 20 under normal circumstances. Right.
But anybody that thinks LeBron is what he used to be, look at their record. It's as simple as that. Look at their record. LeBron James in his prime was not going to be below 500. I don't care who was with him. All right? And so I really think, Rob, and I'm not trying to give him a pass, LeBron at this point is beyond reproach. I'm not saying it because he's an all-time great player. I'm saying it because, Rob, he's 38. He's in his 20th year. If you're going to rip him for not making the playoffs, I'm like, we didn't rip Jordan.
Yeah.
And Jordan, we don't even think about those Washington years.
But the only thing is Jordan didn't have, and Anthony
He didn't
Davis.
have AD, but even if he did
and
didn't make the playoffs, right? We wouldn't be like,
no. I get that. No, I get that point, but it's just with the play-in and 20 of the 30 teams make the playoffs, and they've already missed it before. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like this Laker run, other than the bubble, has been, I hate to use the term because they won a championship, but the rest of it has been a disaster. I don't know what else to call it.
Because I wouldn't go disaster,
you know what I mean?
But it hasn't been good because they've missed the playoffs. What? 2 of LeBron's 4 years in LA.
2 of the 4, they had to play in game 1, Chris. They lost that, right? And the other year they won a championship. So they lost. Right.
And then look, for those that ripped the bubble, let me say something. Everybody was in the bubble. Everybody.
Except
whatever
Kyrie.
your team is, whoever you like, the Clippers were your team, the Nuggets, the Blazers, the Celtics, the Bucks, they all were in the bubble. So, Rob, to me, an advantage, people talk about it like the Lakers had some advantage. They didn't have an advantage. Everybody was suffering the same, situation. So it's like if everybody was using PEDs and we know it, then I'm not jumping on it. I'm talking about legally. Like everybody was giving PEDs, so I just don't shoot down the bubble because you always say this, Rob, if LeBron hadn't won in the bubble, people would still hold it against him.
No, right. You can't have it both ways.
Right.
You can't. The same way I always say, right, you can't.
Yeah, so I think, Rob, it would more so than LeBron be an indictment on AD. I mean, I think this whole thing is an indictment on AD. Just keeping it real.
But then again, you just said, but the other thing too is this is AD. Like, this is not a shocker, Chris. Like, this is who he is, right? I mean, let's just be honest. He was hurt
now
in New
we've
Orleans.
accepted it, but he wasn't. Did you expect it?
No, I
The
didn't.
1
I
year
didn't.
he stayed healthy was the bubble.
They had the 4
And that
months
was because,
off.
right. They had the hiatus. And, you're right. But this is different, though, than, like, if people would say to Dallas, oh, it's Kyrie. What'd you expect? I mean, AD was young. You know what I mean, Rob? Like,
We thought he was going to take off after the bubble championship.
Right.
That was going to be, okay, you got that in your back pocket. Now go for MVPs. Now let LeBron sit to the side, Chris.
Right. And
run
you
the
be
team.
the man.
Be the next guy that they hand the team off to when LeBron's all done. And it was all set up for him, but it didn't pan out.
I think, Rob, instead of being like, okay, now I'm off and running, let me see how great I can be, I think AD relaxed. I think AD was like content. Okay, now I got my ring. My numbers are always great. I'm good. And then he made the top 75, which I think was a mistake. But he made it, and now, Rob, now he's like, I'm really good. I'm really good. Anything else I do is icing. Rather than looking at it like, yo, let me go get more. Let me rise up the historical ranks. Let me be the best power forward of all time. He was like, I'm good. I got my money. I got my history, right? I'm going to be a Hall of Famer.
Yep.
I'm a champion.
I'm cemented.
Nobody gets
I'm cemented.
right. I'm a made man. And I think he relaxed, Rob.